Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Christian 2, of which is essentially a premium Stridsvagn 121B, which itself is basically a Swedish Leopard 2A4. With that said, the Christian 2 is currently a 10.3 PR premium medium/main battle tank in the Swedish Ground Forces tech tree. This vehicle pack currently costs $69.99 USD and comes with 2,500 Golden Eagles, 20 days of premium time, and of course, the Christian 2. With that said, in this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this tank, including its stats, how it plays, I'll go over its strengths and weaknesses, I'll give it some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation on if I feel this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. With that said, if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing, as that means the world to me. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now to start, I'll place a stat card here on the side of the screen. Important things to know are its power to weight ratio, turret traverse rate, and its smoke grenade totals. Now for how it plays. Again, the Christian 2 is essentially a premium Leopard 2A4, but with fewer smoke grenades, lacking an optional dozer blade that not every 2A4 has anyways, and of course this has a camo net along the cannon barrel. What all of this means is that the Christian 2 is a very well balanced vehicle with excellent speed, good armor, and a very good cannon at this BR. While not overwhelmingly powerful in any one way, outside of perhaps its mobility, the Christian 2 can both take and dish out punishment. Because of this, it excels in numerous roles, from flanking to base capping to frontlining to even supporting, sniping, and brawling, though the latter is best done if you have at least an expert crew in order to bolster your reload rate. The tremendous power to weight ratio will allow this vehicle to motor around the map with astonishing ease, even to the point where it's faster than most similar BR light tanks. When combined with its very good 120mm cannon and DM23 APF SDS, the Christian 2 will be a dominant flanker that can even deal with enemies up front. This of course is where the armor comes in, and while the Leopard 2A4 and its various variants were better once upon a time compared to how they are now, the Christian 2 still sports armor that is as good as any similar BR NATO tank out there, or possibly even better, at least insofar as its turret armor is concerned. If nothing else, the Christian 2 is a great vehicle to hold down with in order to expose its hull as little as possible due to the fact that it's oddly lightly armored. Regardless, due to the immense speed, great armament, and good enough armor overall on this vehicle, the Christian 2 is one of the most versatile high BR tanks in game, as this is of course a premium Leopard 2A4 after all. Now with that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses, and first for its strengths. This vehicle has excellent mobility with a great power to weight ratio of 27.2 horsepower per ton, a top speed of 68 km per hour, and a reverse speed of 31 km per hour. Second, this vehicle has a great turret traverse of between 28 degrees and 40 degrees per second, depending of course on crew skill. Third, this vehicle has great but not excellent gunner's optics with between 4 and 12 times zoom. Fourth, the Christian 2 has good turret cheek armor that should protect against all heat FS shells and a good chunk of the APF SDS at this BR. Fifth, this vehicle has commander's optics that also come with thermals. For its 6th strength, this vehicle also has gunner's optics that have thermals. While they are only Gen 1 throughout the sights of this tank, the Christian 2 is still at the BR range where Gen 1 is not necessarily a given, and Gen 1 is of course acceptable. For its 7th strength, this vehicle has blowout panels to protect from turret ammo rack detonations. 8th, the Christian 2 features a 4-man crew, which is decent at this BR as many tanks only have 3 crew members. Beyond this vehicle has very good cannon elevation angles of between -9 and +20 degrees. And finally, the Christian 2 has premium RP and SL bonuses. And now for its weaknesses. While not outright bad, the Christian 2 only carries 8 smoke grenades, which is half of what a normal Leopard 2A4 carries, and is lower than most other tanks around this BR. Second, while the LMGs will do some damage to tires and to aircraft, 2 of them are no replacement for a single HMG. Third, this vehicle has mediocre armor on the upper and lower glacis plates that is fairly easily penned by APF SDS. For its 4th weakness, there's a large gunner sight weak spot that is fairly easy for most APF SDS to pen. 5th, this vehicle has limited ammunition options, including 2 different types of APF SDS, of which of course you're probably going to go with the DM23, and a non-programmable HE shell. Beyond this, there's a gigantic ammo rack that sits right next to the driver and is a constant concern for being blown up. And finally, this vehicle has a huge engine deck lid that prevents cannon depression when the cannon is over it. Now with all that said, let's get into how I score this vehicle. And first, for armament, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. At 10.3 PR, BR, the armament on the Christian 2 is very good, possibly even great, but not really especially great. It has somewhat middling DM23 APF SDS that has 410mm of armor pen at max, as well as 2 LMGs, good gunner's optics that go up to 12 times zoom, excellent accuracy, and of course Gen 1 thermals. Don't get me wrong, at 10.3 BR, the cannon and ammo combination on this vehicle are plenty good to get the job done, but they aren't overwhelmingly impressive, especially as other similar BR tanks can have upwards of 450mm of pen. Now for mobility, I give it an 8 out of 10. While not quite as fast as the Type 90, the Christian 2 is easily one of the fastest MBTs in War Thunder. This mobility allows for very easy flanking, base capping, and really whatever else you might end up doing, as the Christian 2 will oftentimes be the first tank at any given hotspot on the map. In some vehicles, a lack of mobility might limit the roles that they can take, whereas in the Christian 2, the excessive mobility of this vehicle means that it can be that much more versatile. Now that said, for survivability, I give it a 6 out of 10. While fairly decent, the survivability on the Christian 2 isn't outstanding. In the past, I may have ranked Leopard 2A4s and their variants slightly higher in this category, but times have changed and enemies have become deadlier in War Thunder, especially as fewer people are using Heat FS as we get more and more premium tanks at this BR. For example, I rated the premium Leopard 2A4 in the German ground tech tree as a 7 out of 10 in this category about a year or two ago. And while 1/4 of the full score difference comes from the fact that you get half as many smoke grenades with the Christian 2 compared to, again, a standard Leopard 2A4, the rest of the fact is that enemies have simply gained better armaments around this BR, especially with the proliferation of big gun, high penning Russian tanks, as well as autocannon carrying tanks that outright disrespect your flanks. The Christian 2 can still survive, don't get me wrong, but it isn't as excellent in that regard anymore. Now overall, I give this vehicle a 7 out of 10. While the Leopard 2A4 isn't as resoundingly powerful of a vehicle as it used to be, again due to its survivability being a little bit worse than previous, it's still easily one of the best in-game around its BR. It is so incredibly well balanced that in my opinion, it really doesn't have any major trait that can be viewed as an outright weakness when compared to other MBTs. It has a powerful cannon, great accuracy, good optics, excellent mobility, and good enough survivability. In my opinion, you can't go wrong with that. Now with that said, do I recommend this vehicle for purchase? Yes, I do. But I am very cautious about that $69.99 price tag. If you have tons of money and don't mind spending it on a largely copy and paste vehicle, go ahead and buy it. But for most people, I would easily recommend purchasing this if it goes on sale. I'm not singling out the Christian 2 when I say this either, as I'm pretty much marking all premiums that cost about $70 and higher as sale vehicles only, as it is just an extremely expensive price for a digital vehicle and of course the digital currency in Golden Eagles and premium time that comes with it. Gaijin's pricing aside, the Christian 2 is easily one of the most balanced and player-friendly premium tanks at high tier and will accommodate a huge amount of playstyles. Unlike the Type 90B Fuji, of which I also have a review on if you want to check it out, I'll try to link it below, the Christian 2 doesn't outright pour all of its eggs into one or two baskets. Rather, the Christian 2 splits those eggs into having good armor, great armament, and a fantastic level of mobility. Because of that, I give the Christian 2 my Tankenstein seal of approval, and of course my recommendation for purchase. Again, I would strongly encourage most people to wait for a sale, but you are your wallet's guardian, not me. Now with that said, thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, as all of those mean the absolute world to me, and they would tell me that I did a good job on this review, or if you have any sort of disagreement or any sort of critique of me in this review, let me know in the comments below. I definitely am interested and will use that to further improve my videos. But either way, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.